Nicole is not as bad as you think, but she's also not as good as you think. Over the past few days, there's been so many misconceptions about Nicole, and so many people are misunderstanding what she's actually good at. I just had to make this video. So for anyone who doesn't know, Nicole is about to get released in the next version, and pretty much everyone was hoping she was gonna save Varka and make him so much better, and now that we actually know how she works, it turns out everyone was wrong. But before I explain why that is and if she's still worth it or not, let me introduce you to U7 Buy. On U7 Buy, you can save over 25% when buying Genesis crystals, which is much cheaper than buying them in-game. Now don't worry, they top up through official providers, and they also have over 45,000 reviews on Trustpilot, so it's completely safe to use. If you want to top up, all you have to do is just click on whatever you want, enter your UID and server, and the Genesis crystals will arrive on your account just like that. Just make sure to check the actual price at checkout before you buy, and you can also use my code to get a 25% off on top of your purchase. So if you want to top up and save some money at the same time, click the link in the video description or the pinned comment and make sure to check out U7 Buy. And now let's get back to the video. Before we talk about all the good stuff, first, let me tell you guys what exactly I mean when I say she's not as good as I was hoping, especially when it comes to Varka. As we all know, Varka's damage is not very high, and everyone including me thought this was on purpose because Nicole would be his best in slot support. Now Nicole did actually end up being his best in slot support, but not in the way she should have been. Because if you want to use her with Varka, you will have to replace her with either Durin or Bennett, and the amount of extra damage you get from doing that is basically non-existent. It's a very small increase, and if you have Varka's weapon, it's even worse. And it gets even worse if you have his constellations. So in terms of how much more damage you're gonna deal with Nicole instead of someone like Bennett, the difference is so small it doesn't really matter. But the reason why she's still overall better than Bennett in Varka teams is because she has a pretty decent shield. This makes her so much more valuable for any teams where you need that shielder, which also includes Varka obviously. Playing Varka without a shielder is so annoying. He has like 0 resistance, which means every time you try to use this guy without a shielder, you're gonna get kicked around like 90% of the time. Unless you're like some type of anime protagonist and you're able to dodge every attack. But for most of us, that's not gonna be the case. And you're also gonna lose a lot of damage by doing that because it wastes time. Now if you pull for Nicole, you don't have to worry about that anymore. She's gonna activate her shield, which is pretty solid, and you don't have to worry about getting backshots from whatever creature that is. Her sub DPS is also not that good, to be honest. Really, most of her value just comes from her massive attack buffs and the shield that she gives. Plus, if you have her artifact set, she gives like 40% pyro damage on top of that. Anyway, the point is, she's basically like a 5-star version of Bennett, but way more restricted in terms of team options because you have to use her in Hexerite teams. But then again, she also has a shield at least, so there's probably gonna be a lot of different use cases for that as well. But yeah, that's pretty much how I would describe her for now. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys. She's very good if you need a pyro shielder who works in Hexerite teams and can also be replaced with Bennett. But in terms of how much more damage you're gonna deal with her instead of Bennett, it doesn't really matter. And for a lot of overload teams and teams where you can use her instead of someone like Durin, your DPS is actually gonna deal less damage if you use Nicole instead of Durin. So you really have to test out all these different teams and make sure to really think about it before you pull for her. However, we're still in the second version of the beta, which means there's a lot of things that can change about her passives and all that, so we'll have to see what happens. With that being said, there's still a few things I really want to talk about when it comes to Nicole, and one of them is to make sure you don't regret her. We got a lot of crazy things coming up. We got Columbina and Zibai probably rerunning in version 6.7. We're about to see Pantalone in-game for the first time in version 6.6, and we're about to go into Snezhnaya right after that. Because apparently, we might not even get a version 6.8 this time, but that's a topic for a different video, and I'm also not completely sure about this, but there is a possibility that we go into Snezhnaya right after version 6.7 without having any version 6.8 at all. Whatever, just make sure if you decide to pull for Nicole, you're actually gonna get something out of it. Don't just pull for her for no reason unless you're a huge fan, because at the end of the day, it's a 5-star. and they're very expensive. But that aside, I really don't understand what Hoyoverse is trying to achieve with making Nicole so underwhelming, because in Effa, for example, she gives buffs, she has a strong shield, and she deals good sub DPS. Why couldn't they just do the same thing for Nicole? I don't get it. I genuinely don't know what it is with Hoyoverse and them always making these super anticipated characters a lot worse for no reason. Like, we have characters who came completely out of nowhere that ended up being absolutely busted, and then with these highly anticipated characters, literally everybody is ready to spend money for them. For some reason, they just make them as underwhelming and as bad as possible. I don't know what the reason for that is, but it is what it is. Anyway, with all that being said, let me know what you guys think about Nicole down below in the comments. Let me know if you guys are going to pull for her or not. Let me know what videos you guys would like to see. And as always, I wish everyone a nice and wonderful day.